We are recording. All right. Hi, I'm Matt. I am with otherpeoplesmovies.com, and we are here today to talk about what happened? We are here today to talk about Rob Reiner. We are going to rank his films, and we are going to talk about the quality of work he left behind. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of the details about his death along the way, but uh, honestly, I'm personally going to spend more time focusing on the positive and brilliant work he left behind as opposed to the terrible way that he went out, which it warrants discussion. It's going to be in the
Yeah.
public. It's going to be in the public eye for a while because the trial of his son is still coming up, and that's going to bring
Yeah.
up a whole lot of information, and people are going to be talking about this for a while. But
Yes, for
the
sure.
purpose, long story short, the purpose of this particular podcast is to celebrate the work that he left behind. But I'm sure other topics will come up along the way. My personal experience with Reiner's work, his work's been in my life for almost as long as I can remember. I'll name the movies as we rank them, but the work he did in the 80s and even the 90s, especially, he delivered some classic films. He delivered numerous classic films.
Yes.
I used to think he was more of a studio guy who didn't have much say, and I thought of him as more of a shooter, somebody who didn't have much say in his scripts, who just found the right script and was able to bring it to fruition. I thought of him as a director for hire. When I studied him, and when I got to know after he passed away last December, and when I really studied his work and listened to his commentaries, I realized the guy was a bit more of an auteur than I ever gave him credit for being. He had a lot of say in his scripts. He had a lot big hand in developing a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. Like for instance, Harry Met Sally, one of his best known works. The idea originated with him. I always thought it originated with Nora Ephron, but the idea originated with him, and I think it speaks volumes of his lack of ego that he didn't go after story credit or screenplay credit because it's solely accredited to Nora Ephron, who I mean, but and I am not trying to downplay the work that she did. She wrote a brilliant script. She's a brilliant writer. But Rob Reiner had a huge hand in developing that script, and he had a huge hand in developing a lot of his scripts. So he was a Hollywood director who really did have some singular sensibilities, some very personal sensibilities. You can't necessarily look at Rob Reiner's films or one of his films and say right away the way that you can with Tim Burton or David Lynch or David Cronenberg or notorious is the wrong word, other celebrated auteurs, but thematically, and he doesn't necessarily use the same camera angles or the same looks or the same tones to his movies. Well, he does have the same tones to his movies, but the there's just there's a lot there's a through line to his work, and we'll explore that as we're ranking his movies. He's long story short, he's much more of an auteur than I ever gave him credit for being. I put him right up there in terms of studio commercial filmmakers. I put him up right up there with Ron Howard, Steven Spielberg, Richard Donner, all those greats. Rob Reiner was one of them. He was one of the big guys in Hollywood who made commercial movies that still had a lot of artistic integrity. So that's
Yeah.
I love Rob Reiner, and it's too bad it took his death for me to fully explore and appreciate all of his work, which I don't necessarily like because I wish I would have appreciated it more. I found some gems, and there were a number of his movies I'd never seen, and I found some gems looking at these movies. There were some movies I didn't even know he did that I love. So I'm looking forward to discussing those. But I'm sorry it took his death to motivate me to really explore his work with a critical and thorough eye. So, what about you?
Yeah.
What's your relationship with Rob Reiner? What's your background on his work?
Well, like you said, he's been a cultural luminary that was kind of just in the background that just was making uh, films and TV that I really enjoyed and really appreciated having in my life.
Yeah,
And he just was a beautiful soul that, like you said, just we didn't appreciate enough while he was alive, and he truly was. Uh, I knew later in his life, uh, as the nation became more and more shifted to the right politically, and he uh, consistently was more uh, center left and leftist possibly, which is really uncommon among uh, millionaires and
Yeah,
millionaires in Hollywood.
yeah,
But I don't think that you could say that he considered himself a great advocate of the American capital system. You know,
hmm
he was. He did. I think he felt really uncomfortable uh, exploiting people, even though that's what Hollywood is all about:
yeah, yeah,
exploiting people who are young and
yeah.
beautiful and have creative
And
energy.
that's all
Um,
evident in his work.
yeah,
That's all evident
yeah,
in the
yeah,
21 feature length films. Well, feature length theatrical films that he directed. That's
yeah,
all evident in his work.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, going back to like we were discussing before we started filming here, uh you know, him getting started in All in the Family, or I mean, I have to, that was his big breakthrough. I didn't know if he had any acting experience before
I'm
that,
not sure. I'm
but
not sure. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
but it is, I mean, it's well established that he was that made his career
Hmm
as a presence in Hollywood,
hmm
and interacting with Carol O'Connor, the you know who also was a brilliant actor. You know, he probably learned state not you know stagecraft that is unique to acting for TV and film that he probably couldn't have learned as easily if he hadn't been in you know that three-walled space, you know,
hmm
that gets put into the camera.
You're right.
And uh he, I mean, he was just a total even though his character received a lot of grief from Carol O'Connor's character, if you watch the whole series from beginning to end, you know that the father actually loved him
hmm
because he was so good to his daughter,
hmm
and it so that whole time, uh, the meathead character, played by Rob Reiner, was just getting so much acting experience and learning what it meant to be vulnerable in front of a camera, and with the help of Carol O'Connor, who was a master, you know, dramatist or you know, dramatic actor.
hmm
And just, I mean, I'm starting to tear up a little bit thinking about the generosity of Carol
Sure.
Connor.
Sure.
That, you know, he's that, I mean, just so giving. You know, that he just unleashed so much vitriol at Rob Reiner's character, and that Rob Reiner's character was able to take and just become one of the most lovable people who's ever been on,
Yeah.
you know, on TV.
Has
You know, and
Reiner
just like,
has Reiner credited Carol O'Connor for showing him these things that you're saying?
I don't know if
Okay.
he even needs to,
Okay.
because he just he it's so in my mind it's so obvious
Okay.
that because I mean, well, you have more theater background than I do,
hmm
but I mean, to me, and I've talked to directors. What makes a good director? What often they say you have to be able to make your actors feel comfortable enough so that they could be vulnerable,
Right.
uh, that they can, you know, emote and be real, give like real believable performances, you know, and that audiences will uh, identify with and that will evoke, you know, an emotional response.
hmm
So to tell all in service of telling a story,
Right. Right.
which, and if that was easy, then everyone would be actors, because
Sure.
why wouldn't they be? So Rob Reiner took that and became one of the most beloved
Sure.
directors of all time.
Sure. I think some of the
Which
best directors
yeah,
do have acting back. Not all of them. A lot of my favorite
yeah,
filmmakers don't have, but I think that I think you can tell, especially not all cases, but
yeah,
most of the actors who become directors, you see it in the performances. You see
yeah,
very free, very vivacious performances where the actor very obviously trusted their director and was able to go places that they may not usually go. And the
yeah. It's
performances in Rob Reiner's movies are exemplary.
yeah. I think that that's where you get the phrase actor's director
Sure,
from.
sure.
You know that because like Hitchcock, I wouldn't describe as an actor's director.
Oh, absolutely
He
not. He
yeah.
got good
So
performances, but I don't
yeah,
think he would even call himself. He said
right.
he gave the famous line, "Actors are cattle." So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. So
he did not love his actors.
yeah,
Hitchcock did not.
exactly. And yet he is one of his films are some of the most beloved
I
films ever. So I
yeah.
mean,
Same with
so
yeah.
that Rob Reiner's uh, Rob Reiner's approach isn't the only one,
Right.
but that if some people would call I don't know what actors would call Hitchcock's specific type of directing, but if Stanley Kubrick, that
Yeah.
there are a lot of different directorial styles, and Rob Reiner may have looked at them and said, "I'm not going to do that."
Right.
He
Sure.
said, "Great film or not, those are not the types of films I want to
Well,
make."
Hitchcock was a bit of a bastard. Rob Reiner wasn't. So I mean,
There you
I
go.
love
There
Hitchcock.
you
Everybody loves Hitchcock, but
go.
he's not none of most of the actors who worked with him aren't exactly who are still alive or who have said in the past. Most of them did not necessarily sing praises on him being a nice guy. So
Yeah, exactly.
whereas in Rob Reiner, his kindness, I mean, it's evident in his work. He
Yeah,
loves people. He loved people.
yeah,
You see that in his actors. You see that in the themes of his work. You see that in the tone of his work. He made movies that were love of that exhibited a love of humanity.
yeah. And you could take that concept and then have it validated in the interviews that you saw him in the charity work that he did,
Yeah,
in the articles that he wrote.
right.
He 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 had a lot of heart,
Mm-hmm.
and he was generous enough to share that with the world.
Very much so.
And I think that it would be uh, ignorant if we didn't appreciate that.
I agree. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's all again, it's all the more tragic. I've said this before, but it's all the more tragic that he died in the way that he did, as violently and as at the hands of his son, most likely, as
yeah,
we've been told so far.
yeah,
I want to say most likely because there hasn't been a trial as of this recording yet. The trial's still upcoming as of this recording, but I think it's for someone who was such a positive lover of humanity, and as it was evidenced in his movies, it's so tragically ironic that he went out the way that he did. It's just
yeah,
it's I'm still reeling from it. I tear up when I think about it. It's just all right.
yeah.
Let's get to ranking his movies, and we'll start celebrating his work and his life. First up, I'm going to say I have 21 feature length movies. That does not include TV movies. That does not include documentaries, which I am going to give an honorable mention before I start my ranking. Albert Brooks Defending My Life from 2023 was a documentary on Albert Brooks, who's a longtime friend of Rob Reiner's, one of my favorite comedic actors and writers ever. He's brilliant. I love Albert Brooks. He's very underrated. Uh, and it's a great documentary. I recommend seeing it. A good portion of it is just Rob Reiner and Albert Brooks sitting across from each other at a table talking about old times, and it's great to see. I can't recommend it enough. It's on Max, but I'm not gonna. It's just an honorable mention. I'm not gonna count it in my ranking. So I highly recommend that movie. It was
I must
one of Reiner's last movies. I think it was his second to last big project after the This Is Spinal Tap sequel. So number 21 at the bottom of the list, and let me preface this by saying I don't think Rob Reiner ever made a bad movie. A lot of people would disagree with me on this, especially one notorious title, which I'll get to pretty high on my list because I liked it, but I don't want to give spoilers to that yet. but I think it's a testament to his talent when I look at this list in my hand that I don't think he ever made a bad movie. Couple mediocre ones, a few mediocre ones, but I don't think he ever made a movie that I would give anything lower than a C plus or a B minus. So the lowest one, 21, we'll start with is Rumor Has It, the Kevin Costner Jennifer Aniston movie that's about Jennifer Aniston discovers that her family was the basis for the novel The Graduate, and she goes after the guy who slept with her mom and her grandmother, and then she sleeps with him too. It's an amusing movie, but I know Rob
Mhm.
Reiner. I know Rob Reiner came into it replacing another director who was feuding with Kevin Costner. So I don't think he had as much. I don't think his handprints are on it quite as much as his other movies are. I don't think it
Mhm.
has the quality that his other movies are, but it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's the chemistry between Aniston and Costner isn't great, and it's just kind of mediocre. Have you seen it?
No, I actually have
Yeah,
not seen that.
it's worth seeing.
I know that. Yeah, I think I had heard of it, but I mean, probably just because Kevin Costner and Jennifer Aniston are
Right?
both such big actors. But I generally like everything I've seen Jennifer Aniston in,
Yeah.
uh, and I don't hate Kevin Costner as an actor either. But I mean, I think that's an interesting story because I mean, I thought that
It
Buck
was an
Henry was.
interesting story that wasn't. It didn't meet its potential, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't it was Buck Henry who wrote the screenplay for that? I think.
Buck Henry
And
wrote the screenplay. I can't remember if he wrote the novel too. I but regardless, I'm gonna look that up while we're talking.
so so Buck Henry is that I'll you while you're looking up, I'll talk.
Yeah.
Buck Henry was famously one of the most uh, frequent hosts of Saturday Night Live.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I think he hosted the entire second season of Saturday Night Live, which
Yeah.
I mean, until what was the John who was the guy who was on that sitcom in the 90s who John Goodman.
Okay.
John Goodman was the first host who hosted more episodes of Saturday Night Live after him,
Nice.
and that but that was many years later. I
Okay.
mean, that was like
Okay.
the
It
90s.
was
But
written by Charles Webb. It was written by
uh-huh.
Charles Webb, and Buck Henry and Calder Willingham worked on the screenplay. So, uh, yeah, yeah. So
so
it's not a what's that?
so Kevin Costner then was the author in that
No, Kevin
movie, or
Costner was the Dustin Hoffman character. He's the one who slept with the mother and the grandmother and the granddaughter. So, yeah. It should
uh,
have been a
sure.
good movie, and it wasn't a bad movie. Again, I'd probably give it a B minus or a C plus. I'd have to watch it again to figure out. It's just kind of it just doesn't grab you, and for such a cool premise, it could
Yeah,
have been better. And I blame the fact that Reiner came so late into the process that he wasn't able to really fully make it his own. So it's a
yeah,
good, it's a decent movie though. If any other director had made it, I'd be like, yeah, it's okay. But for Rob Reiner, it's considering the high quality of his work, it's pretty good. It's just
it's good
kind of
enough.
okay-ish, pretty good. Number 20, Spinal Tap 2. Um, I really wanted to love that movie for a last movie for such a great filmmaker. It's more amusing than it is funny. I didn't dislike it, but to be a follow-up to such a classic comedy
Yeah,
mockumentary movie that was so groundbreaking for its time, it just the jokes fall flat often. It's just again B minus movie. It doesn't it's not as special as his other
yeah.
movies. Have you seen it yet?
No, actually, I have not. I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I will. I think that Christopher Guest has to have some way to um, keep the money running to maintain his castle.
Yeah.
His peerage in England.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that I really liked the first one,
Mhm.
but it wasn't like a seminal film in my younger years. So
Yeah.
it and the the other Christopher Guest movies like Best in Show, and I enjoyed those, but they weren't something that I'd run to the theater
Sure,
for.
sure. A lot
Just
of
like
people love them. I'm on your side. I appreciate the talent behind them, but they're not 100%
yeah,
for me. So,
yeah, yeah,
number 19 would be The Story of Us. This is a movie. It's about this couple that's divorcing, and it's the couple is played by Michelle Pfeiffer and Bruce Willis. Right
hmm,
there is why I can't give the movie much more than a B minus. It's well made, it's well acted, it's but even before I saw the movie, I'm like, Bruce Willis and Michelle Pfeiffer as a couple? That doesn't sound right. They
yeah,
just don't. I mean, maybe I came into it with my own prejudices, but I just felt before I saw it that it was like that doesn't
yeah,
mesh. They just don't. They don't seem like. I don't believe that those two would fall in love. Uh,
yeah. I,
and then I see the movie, they both try their hardest. They
yeah.
both give really good performances, but I can't get past the fact that their chemistry is just a little off and weird and forced. And it's a good movie about divorce. It's a hopeful movie about overcoming the desire to get divorced. Blah blah blah. But it just didn't entirely work for me, mainly because I think they were a little off in the casting.
So I have not having seen that.
Mhm.
I'm going to take your word for it. I have two questions.
Sure.
One, why was Bruce Willis's chemistry with Sybil Shepherd on Moonlighting so good by
I don't
comparison?
know. And that's a great question. That's a great question because here's the thing, Michelle Pfeiffer is just in this completely other league of beauty. I
Well, and confidence, and from the I mean, Sybil Shepherd was
I mean,
no,
and that's the point I'm
notably
getting
ugly.
at is that she was too. I don't know. I think Michelle Pfeiffer's a little otherworldly, and Michelle Pfeiffer's a little otherworldly, and Sybil Shepherd's a little more. She comes across as being a little more down to earth. But
Did you see Michelle Pfeiffer in Fabulous Baker Boys?
sure I did. Yeah, it's one
Okay,
of my
so then, those two movies that Michelle Pfeiffer was in probably were shot close enough to each other that she
10
could
years
have.
apart. 10 years apart.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
then never mind, never mind.
yeah.
Okay, so okay, then let me go to my next. So that's just a question that you probably answered better than I could have.
Yeah.
So my next question is concerning oh, shoot, what was it? It was uh well, you know what? It doesn't matter.
It's all
I
right.
can't think of
All
it.
right.
Maybe later I'll remember it. We can come back to it. But
It's all right. Yeah, if you come
yeah,
back to it, think of it.
yeah.
Yeah, not a bad again, not a bad movie. B minus. I liked it. I just couldn't get past I just couldn't get past I did not buy Bruce Willis and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Do you think Bruce Willis sourced any of his own drama to
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore
I
to?
can't really speak of that intelligently because I know Story of Us came out in '99. I don't know when Bruce Willis and Demi Moore split up. They could have still been married by that point for all I know. So I can't really
Yeah,
say. It's possible, but I
I,
know Rob
I think.
Reiner had been through a divorce previously with Penny Marshall years
Oh
prior.
yeah.
So maybe Rob Reiner put that in.
Well, I think that though was because Penny Marshall um, didn't want to be married in a heterosexual union anymore.
Was she gay?
I'm pretty sure Penny Marshall's gay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Which, I mean, good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
And good for Rob Reiner for. I mean, I think they're friends still.
Or they
I think
were okay. Up
I,
to the
yeah,
well, she
I think
died a
he's
few years before he did. So
okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am
And if
gonna
I'm wrong
go.
about that, I apologize to
Oh,
to her family, whatever.
oh, sure, sure, no problem. I'm gonna lump 18 and 17 together. Shock and Awe and LBJ. Solid movies. Uh,
What's the
uh,
first one?
Shock and Awe was 18,
Shock
and
and Awe.
that's about Shock and Awe. That's about the Knight Ridder news coverage, doubting George Bush's claim that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction in 2003. And then LBJ is Lyndon Johnson taking the presidency after JFK's assassination. They're both solid movies, really well acted. socially and politically minded, but they lack dramatic thunder. I can't say they're great movies because, again, Reiner was a nice guy. He wasn't
Yeah.
Oliver Stone. He didn't say the unspeakable. He didn't say the things that he was a polite filmmaker, and there's nothing wrong with that. I realize that
Yeah.
as I get older. Somebody like Oliver Stone, who I admire greatly. I love Oliver Stone, and I know he's a flawed man, and I know he makes flawed movies, but I love him. Uh, he has dramatic thunder and power to his politically and socially minded movies. These
Absolutely.
two movies, they lacked dramatic thunder. They didn't. There was no real dramatic urgency. They were just very. They were very factual. They were eye opening. They were well acted, well made. They just didn't grab me on an emotional level. I didn't. I At the end of the movie, I wasn't like, I want to know more about this the way I was when I saw JFK or Nixon or other Oliver Stone movies. I just was like, okay, okay. But they're well made. Woody Harrelson's great in LBJ, but
Mhm.
they just weren't movies. I think Rob Reiner. I kind of feel the way about Rob Reiner taking on those movies the way I do about Spielberg's more adult oriented movies is that their sensibilities are a little too innocent to take on topics that require bluntness, that require uh, anger. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
so
especially with a character like LBJ. I mean, he was so abusive towards his underlings.
yeah,
You know, the way he'd have conversations while he was, you know, on the toilet. That he'd give presidential orders from the while he had
mm-hmm.
while he was exposed at the urinal, whatever. I mean, he had the most disgusting way of showing how little other people mattered to him.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah. So I mean, he just like, and he understood the Southern mindset so well and decided to abandon it uh, as a political strategy because um, he knew it was wrong for the nation. The nation needed to the nation needed to evolve, and the Democratic Party's history to racism, historic relationship with racism, was holding it back,
yeah,
and unfortunately, that decision made Nixon's Watergate possible, and Nixon exiting the presidency, and then that made Fox News possible, and then that it was the reason why George W. Bush won, and why Trump won, because you and I both know that is extremely unlikely that any of those elections happened fairly.
sure,
That I mean, uh, the when if Democrats used the tactics that Republicans have been known to use to get elected, Fox News would be up in arms.
yeah,
There would be constant
sure,
uh, talk about it,
sure,
and there is video footage of uh, what was the lawyer who's associated
no
with
idea.
Trump?
Oh, I have no.
I think
Oh,
Roger Stone.
I can't remember.
There's video footage of Roger Stone harassing election judges in Florida while they're waiting for George W.
Yeah,
Bush to be. I mean, he's pushing them and shoving them, and it's disgusting. And those tactics, then were used, in 2016, 2020,
sure, sure, sure,
2024, and
sure.
just worse and worse behavior being exhibited, and it's all because uh, well, it's all because Cain slew Abel. Let's be honest. It's
Sure,
part of
sure.
it's, but uh, the that you can see a really direct link between LBJ making the decision, we're not going to pursue the Southern strategy anymore, and Republicans deciding, we're going to start pursuing we're going to use the Southern strategy.
That's
So
more
yeah,
interesting than anything in the movie. Not a
yeah,
bad movie. Not a bad movie. It's well done. I'd probably give it a B, a soft B. But it's that's the kind of controversial ideas that I think those two movies that I just mentioned needed. Uh,
that is disappointing.
yeah.
If they didn't touch on that at
I
all,
mean,
then I can.
I don't. I mean, I don't. It's been a few months since I've seen them, so I could be being too hard on them. I just wanted more thunder to them. I just
Yeah.
they were very factual, very matter of fact, very straightforward movies, and I kind of wish there was more. Like I said, more Oliver Stone thunder to them.
Yeah, especially since JFK was such an excellent movie by
Right,
comparison.
right.
Not that I've seen LBJ, but the way you're describing it, I mean, excuse
It's
me, it
no
seems as
JF.
though
It's no J.
I think as
It's a
though
really
LBJ,
well made TV movie.
it's as though LBJ could
Yeah.
have been a spiritual sequel, and yet it was
It
not.
could have been. It could have been. Yeah. All right. Number 16. The American President. Again, not a bad movie. I know it's written by the great Aaron Sorkin. I know it's got great performances by Michael Douglas and Annette Bening. They have a pretty decent chemistry. Michael J. Fox is great in it too.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Oh yes, that's one of
Okay.
my favorite movies.
Oh, really? Okay. It's one of your favorite movies of all time?
Well, I would say that it's one of my favorite movies of the pre. Um, what was the year it came out?
1995.
1995. So yeah, it was one of my favorite movies of the 20th century.
Nice. Okay.
Like
Okay. I
before,
appreciate it. I think it's good. I just
yeah,
it left me I it fell a little flat for me. I didn't quite think it was a I wouldn't rank it. It's number 16 on the list out of 21. Again, Reiner never made a bad movie, but for me it just
yeah,
was a little flat and it was a little I can't remember how long it is, but I think it's a relatively
yeah,
long movie and I struggled with the pacing a little bit.
yeah. So here's the reason why it's not one of my favorite all-time movies.
Okay.
It's because I've evolved a lot,
Sure.
and so my the standards that I have for appreciating movies are have a whole different cadence now, and I'm more aware of the crimes that American presidents have committed elsewhere in the world. Like if you really want to get down to it, people could say that every American president we've ever had has been a war criminal, which is,
I don't think
I
you
mean,
leave that position without blood on your hands.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
don't think it's possible.
so so that argument having been made, that American president kind of touches on that, and there's a line when they bomb like a hospital,
Uh-huh.
and like innocent bystanders get killed. They say it was a presidential response, which means, and that the way that translates is presidents have to make hard
Yeah,
decisions. What that means,
I wouldn't
though,
want to be president.
the way that's interpreted by the rest of the world is that presidents are okay with murdering innocent civilians if it serves a greater good.
Yeah.
And that there are a lot of people in the world who would have a problem with that morally.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I again, like I said, you don't leave that position without blood on your
yeah,
hands. It is a job. I'm sure it is a tough decision every
oh yeah,
day where you have to weigh the greater good over the smaller evil.
yeah. So I'm more politically aware today than I
Yeah,
was back then.
yeah.
But back then, it was just one of my favorite movies.
Sure.
It made me proud to be an American.
It's a great
Yeah,
romantic movie and it has some things
yeah,
to say. You're pointing out things about it that I don't even remember, so you know the
oh yeah.
movie much better than I do.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
yeah,
because you probably have. I mean, having seen it more recently, you probably remember facts about it that I do not.
I
But
saw it back in I saw it for the second time after it first came out, maybe back in January or February, and it's now June,
oh,
so I'm pretty hazy on a lot of the details.
I think I watched it all frequently on HBO, like probably
Yeah,
just about every time it was on.
yeah.
I probably watched it, and it just it just filled me with pride, that I was an American citizen, and that and he was representing all the best parts that of the White House, and the Oval Office, that I was just so proud that's what our American leaders, political leaders,
Sure,
were at their best.
sure,
And I'm not sure if I believe that anymore,
sure.
but at the time it was one of my favorite movies.
Okay,
So
okay.
and if I could be allowed the illusion of of the political ignorance of my youth, then I would say it still is. I mean, many of the scenes are very touching. That they have uh, three three or four great monologues from actors, you know, and from Michael Douglas, um,
Annette Bening.
uh, what was
Annette
who
Bening.
Annette Bening, Michael J. Fox, and the third was one of our favorite actors. I can't remember his. He's Martin Sheen.
Yeah. Oh, that's who I couldn't
Yeah.
see. That's the thing. I don't remember that movie that well because I couldn't remember whether or not Martin Sheen was in it, but he is.
Oh
So
yeah.
again,
Yeah. So,
it's not my favorite movie. It didn't jump out at me, so I'm a little hazy on some of the details.
so Aaron, so
Yeah.
American President made West Wing possible,
Sure.
and West Wing was again a great TV, great American soft culture TV, or what do they call it?
Hmm.
Is that is that what it's called? The when soft diplomacy or whatever.
No idea.
We use American when American TV and movies are watched by people outside the U.S. and it kind of gives helps them become our allies without even thinking about it, just because they love watching American TV, they love watching American movies,
Yeah.
and it's so I think it's called soft diplomacy
Okay.
when Hollywood has such a big effect on the mindsets of people outside the U.S.
Interesting. No idea. That you know far
Yeah.
more than I do. That's. I'm glad you had more insight into this movie than I did. I may have to give it another look now. I may have to give it
Uh,
another look now.
I mean, I don't know if I mean there are some just beautiful moments that Aaron Sorkin clearly, who again, someone who probably has uh, several problems with the United States, as I think I'm pretty sure he's gay. I think he might even be married now.
I didn't
But
know
so
that.
like he's clearly someone who has had problems with the United States in the past, and yet has brought to American pop culture, you know, just great passion for our government, and
Okay.
it's kind of I mean, it's interesting. If you look at it purely academically, without thinking of any of the politics involved, kind of interesting, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. Number 15, The Bucket List. Charming movie. Denzel Washington and or Denzel Washington, Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
uh, did Denzel and I'd love to see a movie with. Oh, Glory. They've worked together. Glory. Anyway,
Jack Nicholson and Denzel
Jack
Washington
Nichol.
were together.
Jack Nichol. What's that?
I didn't think that Jack Nicholson was in Glory.
No, no. I was talking about. I was trying to say Morgan. I accidentally said Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington, and then I started to say I would love to see them in a movie together, and then I remembered Glory. So, and
Oh,
they
okay,
were in a
okay,
movie
gotcha.
together. Not
I,
Jack Nicholson had nothing to do with Glory. But anyway, the bucket list. Back to the topic. The bucket
yeah,
list is a movie. It's a nice dramedy starring Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman as two
yeah,
older men who are both diagnosed with terminal illnesses, and they decided to. And Jack Nicholson's a millionaire or a billionaire or something like that, and he and Morgan Freeman go on this journey where they do all these crazy adventures
yeah,
to live their life to the fullest at the end.
yeah.
So it's a sweet movie. It's a good movie. I think the reason it's not higher on my list, despite the talent in front of the camera and behind the camera, I had issues with the tone. It had this sweet saccharine tone throughout the whole thing, which most Rob Reiner's movies do, and I'm not putting it down for that. But for a subject matter with people dying, it just felt mildly inappropriate that it was in this feel good package. Have you seen the movie?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. and it was just kind of mildly, it rubbed me slight. I still give it a B. It's still a good movie, and I like it, and I'll watch it again. I
Yeah,
own it on Blu-ray. I got it cheap, but I own it on Blu-ray. I'll watch it again. It's a good movie. The reason it's not higher on this list is because I kind of feel like it took the easy way out and went for the feel good of it and not quite focusing on the tragedy of it. But
yeah,
that's my opinion. Whatever.
yeah.
I'm a
Uh,
dark guy.
um, I I don't know. Has that been criticized of white savior syndrome?
I don't think so.
Okay, so okay, if that has not been a criticism levied against it, I will not try to do
Okay.
so myself.
Okay.
But what I remember
Could be.
most
I don't
about
know.
it was, I mean, and so this is significant. They talked about that really expensive coffee, and the
Yes.
way that he had to
Yes.
serve it,
Yes.
and so I more than anything, I distill that movie down to that scene,
Hmm.
where he has that, and he's just like, you have to follow these birds around
Yeah.
until they
Yeah.
shit out
It's a
coffee
good scene.
beans.
It's a good scene. Yeah. It's a
So
really.
yeah, as a like, he's a white billionaire who's able to give his poor black friend the life that they both deserve, and yeah,
I'm so
it,
naive. I didn't even view it in that way. I just viewed it as two people.
yeah.
I didn't view it as white and black, but it's nearly impossible not to do that today. But I watched it for
Yeah.
the first time pretty recently, and I
Well,
that thought never occurred to me because I'm a
Well,
white
and
guy.
and and good for you, because I mean, I'm not sure if me mentioning it isn't racist in and of itself, because I mean, what
All
we're
white
I'm
people are
so
racist. We're all
yeah.
racist.
Well, oh, yes, yeah. I'm so concerned about not being racist, and being
Sure,
anti-racist if
sure.
possible, that I am perhaps too quick to look for racism when there is none, because
Maybe
I
it's an interesting topic though. It just never occurred to me that the white savior
well,
thing never occurred to me.
Morgan Freeman, I mean, he's played God more than just about any other actor, right? I mean, even if not literally on camera, then as a narrator,
Yeah.
he has one of the best voice of God
Oh, he's got a wonderful
narrations.
voice. His voice
Yeah,
is
yeah,
his voice. He may have the best voice in all of movie history. Like he's
yeah.
right up there.
And Morgan Freeman, anecdotally, one of my friends read a biography of his, and I think
Oh
he
well.
said that he did he's when he was doing those bits on like Electric Company, or the Easy
Yeah.
Reader thing, Easy Reader, that's my name. He was tripping balls, on
Well, I know
LSD.
he was a severe alcoholic, and he didn't clean
Yeah.
up till he was in his mid to late 40s. Like he didn't really start getting the big acting roles until he was well into his 40s or even his 50s. He wasn't. I mean, I know he had that TV show and everything, but he was a severe. I know. I remember reading that years ago. I don't remember when in his
Yeah.
timeline it was, but he was a pretty bad alcoholic.
And Jack Nicholson is a well-known
Yes.
uh
Well, Jack Nicholson's a party man.
yeah, yeah. So I think that they probably had great camaraderie on set,
I
because they
believe they
probably would
did.
have been able
I
to
believe they
trade
did.
a lot of stories back and forth,
Yeah.
and I mean, Jack Nicholson, I remember a few years ago on one of the award shows, he spent the first, 30 seconds, minute or whatever, thanking all of the people that were in his life that either weren't there anymore, or that wishes could be there with him, that he like, and I'm just like, the reason why, I think one of the reasons why so many actors love him is because he truly is an actor's actor.
Hmm.
He's just so giving, and all the time, and um I'm not talking about financially. I don't know anything about his finances,
Sure.
but I think dramatically on screen, he seems to be one of the most giving actors of all
He's
time. Just
wonderful. Yeah.
really loves his
Yeah.
craft. So
I don't know who
them,
he is as a person. I've read a biography on him. I'm trying not. I He's got a reputation for some pretty bad things, but I try not to
yeah.
judge. I try not to
Well,
judge actors on that stuff. Whatever.
I,
It's their.
yeah, I don't doubt that he could have. I think that to find their muse, a lot of actors take chances that they probably shouldn't.
Sure, that's
They push the envelope probably when they shouldn't.
I did that when
And
I did that when I was a young actor, mainly because I thought I had to in order to be good.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and people like Jack Nicholson build up that those
yeah,
stories. I remember. I don't want to get off topic, but I remember Nicolas Cage tore up a trailer when he was in his early 20s, and he explained it later like I was immature. I was trying to create
yeah,
stories about myself. That's what all the great actors did, and it was
yeah.
like or something like that. I don't. I'm paraphrasing,
So,
but yeah, Jack Nicholson is one of those actors that young actors look up to, and they feel like they need to
yeah.
copy.
So then there's one more layer that needs to be added to this, and that's Rob Reiner on
Oh
on
yeah,
the other
yeah,
side of the camera.
yeah.
So the three of them, although Rob Reiner wasn't with them necessarily in front of the camera,
Right.
the three of them kind of had a very strong power dynamic.
Hmm.
Triangular, you know, triangular power dynamic, whatever, and uh, uh, and with bringing so much dynamic energy to the screen, through shared history, even if they didn't know each other earlier in their careers, you know they've all lived through decades
Sure,
together,
sure,
and and probably appreciated each other's work,
sure,
different extents. So I
sure.
think that if it wasn't as great of a movie as it should have been, then that is a shame. And I I kind of remember it, and I just think that I think that there was a lot of wasted opportunity there.
I think so
That
too. I think so too.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot heavier hitting, and it took the route. It tried to make you feel good in the end,
Mhm.
and I don't
Yeah.
want to feel good about a movie about two men dying. I don't want to
Yeah,
feel.
no,
I don't
no,
want to
nor do
feel
I.
good.
Nor
I
do I.
don't want to feel good in the end of that. I want
But
me
ma-
to
but
feel the tragedy of them dying.
but the flip side of that is maybe that movie wasn't made for us.
That's true.
Maybe
That's
that
true. And then,
maybe that
yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
true.
maybe cancer patients, might love that
Yeah,
movie.
that's true.
You know.
That's very true. That's very true. That's a great point to make. That's a great point to make. I think it
Thank you.
was a pretty big hit when it came out. I think it was one of the last big hits that Rob Reiner had. But
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty well liked movie. So it's not bad. It's not bad. I'd give it a solid B. Next on the list, number 14, uh, Alex and Emma. Um, I liked this movie, and I heard a lot of bad things about it. Luke Wilson, the famous Luke Wilson, not you, Luke
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Luke Wilson stars as a writer who's struggling to write his next novel. He's got like gambling debts, and he's got bookies after him. His life's on the line basically, and he has like I don't know a week or two to write a book so he can get the advance and pay back his gambling debts or whatever it is. Kate Hudson plays a stenographer who comes in and writes it for him, and obviously romantic sparks fly. It's a solid movie. I liked it a lot more than I thought it was. I'm not normally Luke Wilson's biggest fan. I find him to be rather bland, but this was a
Yeah.
role. This was a role that I thought he did a really good job in. So I do. Have you seen it?
Um, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think I
Okay.
remember the trailers, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen the movie.
He's really good in this movie. Rob Reiner got a really good performance out of him, and it's not hard to look good when you're acting opposite somebody who's as natural and as free as Kate Hudson. Like she's her mother's daughter. She's Goldie Hawn's daughter. She's got the same movie star quality, the same charisma, the same. So she brings out the best in everyone she works with, and
Yeah.
I think she brought out the best in Luke Wilson. Um, the movie's almost like a cross between Harry Met Sally and The Princess Bride, in that it's this romantic story in the real world, and then as he's writing his book, you see a good third of the movie is seeing the story of the book that he's writing in action, the way that you see the story of the Princess Bride in action. My big complaint against the movie, it's not the reason it's not higher on this list is that the story within the story isn't very interesting. It's pretty it's pretty forgettable. And I don't have
Yeah.
much else to say about it other than that. It's just pretty forgettable. It's silly. It
Yeah.
doesn't engross you the way that the story within the story in Princess Bride does. It's just it's a fault to the movie, but I'd still give it a solid B. I'd still give it a solid
Mhm.
B. I really liked the chemistry between Luke Wilson and Kate Hudson. So
Yeah. I'd give it 3 out of 5 Luke Wilsons.
nice.
I don't. Actually, I've never seen it, so I can't comment on it. But
That's okay.
uh, yeah, Kate Hudson, absolutely right about her.
She's
And
wonderful.
Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson, his father, he's from. So actually, I have some actually shared history with Luke Wilson. Never
Okay.
met him personally, but he grew up in Dallas, or he and I went to school in Dallas for 5 years. Uh, and when his movies were just started coming out, I think Bottle Rocket. Um, uh, I started getting calls from teenage girls, in the area, and my girlfriend at the time would pick it up and be like, "Who is this?" Is like, "Is Luke Wilson there?" And I like, and she's like, "No, who is this?" It was uncomfortable. So,
Nice.
and I received a phone call from a
For
from
those of you watching who don't know, this is Luke Wilson. His name is Luke Wilson. The man I'm talking to's name is Luke Wilson. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's my name. So Luke Wilson, sorry if I didn't explain that earlier.
No,
Luke
that's okay.
Wilson, uh, uh, his father was the he was an employee of PBS down or
Oh wow, I didn't know
some
that.
and he was the man responsible for bringing Monty Python's Flying Circus to the United States.
Nice. I had no idea of that connection. I had
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea of that connection. That's awesome.
So yeah, so Luke Wilson's he has legitimate comedy
Nice.
pedigree. So
Yeah.
if he's not the most funny person on the planet, uh, uh, you can't blame Monty Python for that.
Okay.
Or yeah, I don't.
Right.
I guess maybe you'd have to blame Monty Python for it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Number 13 on my list, 2014's And So It Goes. Basic, I mean, I don't have much to say about this movie. It was very pleasant. It was very nice. It stars Diane Keaton and Michael Keaton as two elderly people who, uh, Michael Keaton, I believe, or Michael Douglas. I'm saying Michael Keaton, but Michael Douglas. Gosh, I'm getting old. Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton. Um, Michael Douglas's, I believe, his granddaughter. He has to care for his granddaughter, and he's kind of this curmudgeonly, bitter old man, and it's formulaic, but it's a sweet movie. I love seeing Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton together. Another solid B. It's not one of Rob Reiner's greatest movies, but it's a very pleasant, very nice movie, and yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. It's a very high quality Hallmark movie. So, but I, I, I don't mean that as an insult. I like Hallmark movies. So, so yeah, it's just a nice movie. It makes you feel good, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. It's just a nice, positive, life affirming movie, and uh, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Have you?
Uh, what movie we're talking about again? I zoned
And
out for a
so
second.
it goes.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I
It's
don't
not
know.
well known. I'm not even sure I had heard about it before I studied his filmography. Like, it's unfortunate. We should address them now. This now, Rob Reiner. I would say after roughly around. I'm looking at this list. I'd say roughly around the time of the 2000s. He had maybe even late 90s, but he did not have an easy time getting funded towards the end of his life. He had a lot of financial failures, he had a lot of box office bombs, and I mean that speaks volumes about this
Yeah.
about how dumb Hollywood is. If Rob Reiner can't get funding
Yeah.
for a movie, who has hope? Uh
So this is and so it goes. Michael Keaton and
uh-huh.
Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately,
And I don't think I. The point I was getting at is I don't think this one was a financial success at all. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I had never heard of it.
no, I had not.
Okay.
Or if I had, I'd certainly forgotten about it.
Yeah.
The Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton no longer box office draws, and Rob Reiner, uh, his he I don't think he's ever been compared with one of the greatest directors of all time until his death. So uh, he unfortunately he just didn't have the the same uh, magnetism that that drew the best scripts to him anymore.
Yeah.
That
It
and
happens in that damn industry. It happens. You see great people. I mean, David Lynch. We did a podcast on him recently, and I know he couldn't get funded either. I mean, when
yeah,
David Lynch can't get funded. I mean, and David Lynch and Rob Reiners are completely different ballparks, um, but uh, but yeah,
yeah,
it's just it. That's the nature of the beast. Very few directors, very few actors, very few writers have consistent success throughout their life in Hollywood. If you have a bomb or two, you're persona non grata. Hollywood is very shallow in that regard.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just too bad. It happens to a lot of people. And this was an example of a movie, and so it goes that I think its obscurity has to do with the timing it came out. It came out roughly 10 years, 12 years ago, 2014. And like you said, it was at a point when Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton and Rob Reiner and all these three people who we all grew up admiring, they aren't box office draws anymore, and that's
yeah. And like you said, just about every director probably has experienced that. I
yeah.
mean, do you remember the name of Alfred Hitchcock's last movie?
Is it Frenzy?
I might be. It's
I
either
think it's Frenzy.
Frenzy
I could be wrong.
or Family Plot or Topaz.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
one of those. I may not be Frenzy. I'm not sure. I want to know now. It's off topic, but I want to know.
well, I mean, my point just there is that I mean, there that even the best directors eventually will have on a long enough timeline will have their own droughts,
Yeah.
and periods of not necessarily failure, but uh, lesser success.
Sure. Sure. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think Rob Reiner ever really directed a true failure. He made some mediocre movies, but
Eh,
from a box office point of view, he his movies were failing
yeah,
around the time this
and
movie came out.
I'm not trying to suggest that Hitchcock's last movies were failures either. I just think
And his
that
last movie was Family Plot, not Frenzy.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
And what
So
about
you didn't
Topaz?
know.
I mean,
So you I just proved your point because I didn't know.
yeah,
All right. So in the next movie, this one's pretty important on his list. This one's number 12, and we're getting to the point where I'm pretty much saying his movies from here on in are very good. And we still haven't gotten to his Notorious Bomb yet, which we're about to get to, but we'll get to that soon. Being Charlie, number 12, 2015. This is the one that his son Nick co-wrote about his experiences with another struggling addicts. They co-wrote the script together, I believe. They met in rehab. It's the movie that his son Nick wrote about his struggles with addiction, and Rob Reiner decided to direct it, which speaks volumes about how much he loved this son. And it just breaks my
hmm
heart that this movie exists and Robert Reiner did this for his son, and it still ended the way that it did. Uh, it's a good movie. It goes back. I don't rank it higher. It's really good movie. It's very powerful. I don't rank it as highly as I do his other movies because again, Rob Reiner's sensibilities are more polite, are more and it's a hard hitting movie about addiction, but he can't help himself but be hopeful about the subject in the end. It's a little forced in my opinion. Maybe I'm projecting the fact that I know what happened with his son, with him and his son later in life. I know his son
yeah,
continued being an addict later in life, and that may have had a big hand in why he probably killed his father, but in the brutal way that he did. But it just, I'm a little prejudiced against the movie. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. It doesn't have much new to say about addiction, and it's, in my opinion, a little too hopeful. It's a little too clean cut. Uh, it's not as hard hitting as it needs to be. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about Shock and Awe and LBJ, where I think he's just a little bit too polite of a filmmaker to really make a hard hitting movie, an honest movie about addiction. But again, my prejudices against Nick Reiner and what I know happened after this movie was made might be clouding that.
Yeah.
But it's a solid movie.
I don't know anything about that one.
Okay, yeah,
I
I didn't hear a word about this movie until he
yeah.
until again Rob Reiner, and we're getting down. We've got some obscure movies coming up here that I loved. But yeah, this is one of the sad examples of a Rob Reiner movie. I know it was very low budget. I believe it was produced on a budget of 3 million. So I don't think it had a lot of studio support, but it just goes to show you. I mean, it's a Rob Reiner movie that you and I, who are film nerds, didn't hear about. So,
Yeah.
what does that say?
Uh, and $3 million movies are not really even being made anymore. It's
Yeah,
either super expensive movies or like no budget
yeah,
movies.
yeah,
So
yeah,
uh like the 3 million to $15 million movie has disappeared
yeah.
from the market more or
Well,
less.
this was 2015, so it was roughly 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, even then, I mean, I remember talking about it. I, I don't remember exactly when we last time I had this conversation, but it wasn't that long ago. I think we were talking about this phenomenon that the mid budget movie pretty much disappeared.
Yeah.
Low to mid budget movie disappeared.
Goes back to what I was just saying about David Lynch. He lived in the low to mid budget range, and he couldn't get his
Yeah.
projects financed. He had to do all sorts of jump through all sorts of hoops to even get funding for the last season of Twin Peaks he did a few years before he died. Um, but that's another subject. But yeah, I recommend Being Charlie. It's just again, yeah, but I consider this movie to be really good. I'm being kind of hard on it, and it's very hard not to have my opinion clouded by the fact that it was written by the movie's kind of this hopeful account of an addict surviving his struggles, and when I know it was co-written by the guy who later probably killed his own father, uh, and when he was most likely relapsing, uh, it's hard not to, it's hard to believe the movie. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Number 11. All right, here's the one. Here's the one that everyone hated. This was the beginning of the end of Rob Reiner being at the top of Hollywood. North. Uh,
North.
uh, no,
North. Hmm.
notorious
Yeah.
bomb.
Yeah.
Notorious bomb. Uh, I get it. It's a strange movie. It's a very
That was one of his Bruce Willis collaborations,
it was
wasn't
a
it?
Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis had a very large part in it. Elijah Wood was the lead, and he was just a little kid when he did it, and he was great. A lot of good people in it. I can't remember. Oh, there's a lot of good people. John
I
Lovitz.
mean,
Uh, uh,
that's
uh,
that's when Bruce Willis was still like a
oh yeah, yeah,
relatively
yeah. It was
lovable
and Rob
celebrity.
Reiner was at the top of his game when this movie came out. It came out in 1994. Um,
Yeah.
and it was a notorious bomb. Critics hated it. I think Roger Ebert either gave it a 1 star review, or I'm almost thinking he gave it a no star review. I think he hated it that much that he
Wow.
gave it no stars. It was either no stars or 1 star. But I think it's a quirky movie that's all through the mind of a little, all through the eyes of a little kid. And if you view it that way, it works. It's an innocent movie. It it's absurd. It's silly. It's not quite like anything I've ever really seen, which is why I think a big part of the reason everybody was so quick to say bomb, terrible movie, when it was in fact just it was just different. Um, but I know this really hurt Rob Reiner's career. I know it was an expensive movie to make, but I I thought it was pretty darn good. And
Hmm.
again, that's number 11. We're at the point where we're nearing the point where it's just great movies that are left.
I remember seeing it, and I don't remember hating it.
Yeah,
I mean, I might have even been aware of critics' bad reviews of it, and
yeah,
I probably saw it anyway. I was like,
yeah.
just like, I don't understand what
Get it.
although I mean Roger Ebert, I mean he and Gene Siskel were Chicago critics at the same time. I so I was very aware of them as movie critics, and I mean being from Chicago myself,
Sure,
not just from their show that they had together,
sure.
and Gene Siskel had notoriously bad taste in movies. His favorite movie, and so I mean that he was paired with Roger Ebert, and like Roger Ebert, he was from U of I. That was his.
Mhm.
Um, that, but he wrote a movie which I really did not enjoy at all.
Oh, Beyond
Um,
the Valley of the Dolls. Yeah, I couldn't sit through it.
and that's not even the one that I was thinking of. I think of the one Mahogany. I think was the name of the one that he wrote that I
Huh?
so
I don't know about that movie. I thought he only wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
well if perhaps now I have to look it up, but Mahogany, I think it was with who was the who was the actress who is or not she wasn't really an actress, she was a singer who also uh yeah, Diana Ross.
Okay.
Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams. It's about a black woman, and it is was written by John Byram and Tori Asher,
Ah,
not Roger Ebert. Why the heck did I think it was written by? Uh, it wasn't directed by Roger Ebert. It wasn't. I don't know why I thought that.
it's okay.
Uh,
We're getting old, Luke. We're getting old.
anyhow.
Yeah.
uh, uh, um, so Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, I have not seen. They made a sequel to it. Haven't seen
It
that one
was the
either.
sequel. There was Valley of the Dolls, and then unless they made a third sequel, I don't know. Unless they made a third movie, I don't know about.
I don't think they did.
Okay.
I am aware of both. I have not seen either.
Yeah.
But I know enough about them that I just know that they're not my kind of movie.
They're Russ Meyer movies, and I want to like Russ Meyer movies, but I've never been able to get through one. They just don't hit me. I in theory I think they sound cool, but when I sit down to watch them, I'm not engrossed in any way.
Did he do Faster Pussycat Kill
Uh huh.
Kill?
Hmm.
I kind of enjoyed that, but that was the only one. Russ Meyer uh, is was well known as someone who gave directors who became who gave directors who became a big deal later their first shot. Like I think he
I think
helped.
you're thinking of Roger Corman.
Oh, perhaps I am.
Okay.
What was the what was the who was the director who gave um uh oh what's gosh darn it the Italian the great Italian director
Coppola.
um
Yeah.
Coppola, who gave Coppola his first.
That was Roger Corman.
So Dimension 13 or
Dimension 13
Dimension.
was Roger Corman.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that okay, then there you go. So well, that there you go. Roger Corman and Russ Myers made very similar kinds of movies.
Sure.
That's why I conflated the
They
two.
made kind of B movies, trash movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sexploitation
Yeah,
films.
sexploitation. Well, Roger Corman did more. I think he probably did do some. Yes, he definitely did some sexploitation movies like Caged Heat, but he did a lot of science fiction monster stuff, and he did.
Yeah.
I think he more did that. Russ Meyer was definitely sexploitation, but Roger Corman was probably more known for science fiction and horror. But but anyway, North, not a bad movie.
Okay, good. There you go.
I think it deserves more credit. I wish people would give it another look today. I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite clever. All right,
I
number 10.
remember that I remember Elijah was in it when he was very
Mhm.
young, but I don't remember the plot. I remember it was kind of they had like a
This
globe
little boy
trotting.
decides he wants to get new parents, and then he goes across country interviewing different parents.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's kind of a Roald Dahl type of a thing.
a little bit. It's all through the minds of a child, all through the
Yeah,
eyes of a child, all through the
not
eyes of a child.
kind of a, but at the so yeah, not necessarily an evil movie, not a mean-spirited movie in any way,
No,
just not one that appealed to a huge cross section of the literati.
right. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why people hated it so much. It could have been the timing. I don't know. I don't know. Number 10, Ghosts, a movie that's not quite well known. It didn't do very well as far as I know. Well, I'll just name it rather than keep you in suspense. 1996's Ghosts of Mississippi. Uh, James Woods plays a despicable white supremacist who's on trial for murdering Medgar Evans in 1963. Um, Alec Baldwin's the prosecutor. Whatever you feel about Alec Baldwin, he's an excellent actor, and he was great in this movie. Whoopi Goldberg's great. She plays Evers' uh, a widow. Uh, she does a great job. It's good to see her in a good role. It's going. This is an example. I kind of This was made during a time when a lot of white directors like Norma Jewison, who did the Hurricane movie with Denzel. Uh, this was a time when black stories weren't being told by black filmmakers.
Yeah,
The '90s, as you know, there was Spike Lee, there was John Singleton. That's about it, and
yeah,
Carl Franklin. Um, but none of them were getting movies made on the scale that Rob Reiner was. So at the
yeah,
point of this movie in 1996, Rob Reiner, despite North, was still very much at the top of his game. So I'm sure it got made because of Reiner. It's a well-intentioned movie. It's a really good movie. I recommend it highly. And for a movie that I wish a black director would have done rather than a white one who's very privileged, no matter how well-meaning he was. Uh, I think it
yeah,
lacks the net. Again, it it's not a great movie. It's very good, B plus A minus. We're getting to that realm up here for how I feel about his movies. It affected me greatly. It's very well made. It's again just it doesn't quite go for the throat the way that I kind of
right,
wish it would have.
yeah,
It's a hopeful movie. It's a polite movie, and for a movie that tackles a subject like this, and this is just my personal taste. I want to see more. I want to see more going for the jugular. I want to really have my mind blown and be thinking about my own prejudices and my own faults and my own, I really
yeah,
want a movie to affect me like that. And this movie didn't do that. It didn't do that the way Spike Lee's movies do, especially when he was at his best in his younger days. But yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's one of those movies that a good
Did you see it?
director. Uh, uh, I'm not 100% sure I did.
Okay.
Who were who were the principal
Alec
actors in
Baldwin,
it,
James Woods, Whoopi Goldberg.
and who played Medgar Evers?
I don't know, but he wasn't a big part of the movie because he was. It's
Okay.
all about his murder.
Okay, okay. I there then I definitely I don't think I saw it for better or worse, and it's a shame that I didn't. But uh it's the way you're describing it is it's the type of movie that ought to have been produced by Rob Reiner rather than directed by
Yeah,
him.
I agree
Or
with that.
perhaps he should have just, you know, shopped it around until the people who ought to have been directing and producing it could
Well,
take that.
I think that I think that given the time, it was
Hmm.
unrealistic to think that a movie like that could be made by anybody but someone of his stature and race. Like Spike Lee did get a no, he didn't. Spike Lee did Malcolm X in I think '93, and
I was still in high
he had to fight tooth and nail. to get funding for
Oh,
that. He
yeah.
had to go to Bill Cosby, he had to go to Michael Jordan, he had to go to all these celebrities who gave him money. He really had to beg and steal to get that movie
Yeah.
made on the scale it got made in. So I
And
would imagine Rob Reiner did not face the same trials and tribulations
yeah.
as Spike Lee did trying to getting his movie made, as Spike Lee did trying to get Malcolm X made. But
What?
it's a sign of the times that a white. But
Yeah.
Rob Reiner, I'm not trying to take away from the fact that it's a very well intentioned and sensitive movie. It's just it's not quite his reality, and I wish it would have been made by somebody whose reality it really spoke to more so than his. But
Yeah.
it's not a bad movie. I liked it. So uh,
Um, no, well, when we get on to uh, oh, shoot, when Harry met Sally,
uh-huh.
this will come up again. But uh, the the reason that he did not take the writing credit on When Harry Met Sally is more or less the same reason why we both think that he shouldn't uh, have been as involved, or that he should have championed Spike Lee or someone to take the role as director and or producer in that, so that with his political weight behind it, he might have been able. So and that say so we'll get. Well, I mean, this will become more significant when we talk about When Harry Met Sally, but that is the kind of way that powerful white men in Hollywood ought to be using that power to give help voice people who are have not been as privileged to find their voices.
and I'm confident in saying I bet money Rob Reiner would have if he had that clout and
Yeah,
if the times were different, if
yeah.
he would have been able. I think he would have if he could have, or if it were. But
It,
who knows? I
it's a
don't know. I didn't know the guy, so
yeah, it's a beautiful thing to say about him,
yeah,
and it's a beautiful thing to think about him. And I certainly hope that was the case.
yeah,
Um, at the same time, I think that he was as a he had been a hippie. He had, or or at least he, at the very least, he was hippie adjacent,
right,
as meathead, and uh, so he came from that group of liberal boomers who were not yet uncomfortable enough with the role of white savior.
yeah,
So even if he himself should not be labeled with that, even if he did not parade around as someone who was performatively anti-racist,
yeah,
he still had opportunities to be an advocate for black filmmakers that later filmmakers are choosing to do.
right.
Later white producers, who, are choosing to, those who have championed the work of, oh darn it, what's the who made Get Out,
Oh,
uh,
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. So Jordan Peele, brilliant, in his own, did not have the same uh, um, uh, structures inhibiting his progress that Spike Lee had,
No,
and that in some ways that is because of Spike Lee's work, as a pioneer in that.
right,
But at the same time, there had to have been people in the room who were who were not black, and yet who recognized the political significance of Malcolm X enough that they did not get in Spike
right,
Lee's way,
right, right.
as they could have in previous eras in
Sure,
cultures,
sure,
in Hollywood cultural history.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah, it's but that all that being said, it's a good, well-intentioned movie, and I do recommend
yeah,
checking it out. It's not it wasn't very successful at the time, especially in the '90s. the fact that a movie like that even got made
Yeah,
is a lot. And I respect
yeah.
Reiner. I really
It's
do respect Reiner for, especially again at the time, taking on subject matter like that and not playing it safe. So
it's the autobiography of Malcolm X was one of my favorite books that I read in high school. It changed my life and the way that I thought about things. And I'm not saying that I became an anti-racist, that day that I was like, racism is over,
right,
but uh it certainly changed my mind the way I looked at
sure,
things very much so, and it started me on a track of evolving that
right.
you know, but I actually took a date to see that movie when it was in the theater.
Malcolm
It
X.
was in it. Was that? Yeah, the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay,
I took a date. I was in high school.
yeah.
I was 16, 17. It was in an all black movie theater
Hmm.
where across the street from a larger movie theater where opposing gang members had been shot.
Okay,
At seeing when uh, a, uh, a a black movie, a big African American black movie that drew drew crowds, and this happened in I think it was Hillside, Illinois,
okay.
a suburb of Chicago, between Chicago and my hometown of Hinsdale. And that it was because of that New Line Cinema decided to start exhibiting black films on
What movie
Wednesdays.
was this?
That
Is it House
it,
Party?
it might have been
I think
it
House
was it was
Party.
it was really really big news,
Okay.
and it was and
Did it come
uh,
out the same time as Malcolm X?
no, 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 no. I
Okay.
think it might have.
I
I
think
don't
it
think
was
so.
House Party. I think House Party was New Line Cinema.
But as I was leaving the theater, a person who was doing security was handing out flyers, and it was a gentleman in a bow tie.
Hmm.
I'm guessing he was probably Fruit of Islam, and I got a flyer from him. He was hesitant to give me one at first, but
Yeah.
he gave it to me.
Yeah.
And when my date got in the car, she's like, we are lucky to be alive right now,
Yeah.
because every time every time when Denzel Washington's character or anyone would say something about White Devils or anything, or about the whole audience would erupt in cheers and be like, I was just like, well, I shouldn't have come here to see this. Because it was an all black movie theater. And
Yeah.
it was in a time when black culture was not being appreciated on the big screen.
Sure.
you
Sure.
know and it was and it was so it was a poor town in a
Hmm.
that had problems with gang violence, and I did not know it at the time, but I uh I an eye-opening experience that I really really appreciated having, because
Good.
I realized at that moment that I'm not necessarily the good guy in this story.
Yeah.
That I need to be more sensitive to the feelings that other people have about me. And if they don't want me to be in their neighborhood, maybe I need to stop asking why and just respect
Sure.
their opinions.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
Good point. Good point. All right.
and yeah. But sorry to detour like
No,
that,
that's
but
okay.
I really, really thought that Malcolm X was a really good and important
Well,
movie, and
that's
I,
comparing it to Ghost of Mississippi, which is a good movie. It's
yeah,
Ghost of Mississippi is a little impotent in comparison. It's still number 10 on my list out of 21 movies. It's a good movie, but
yeah,
it's not Malcolm X. All right, we need to move on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Number 9. This is Spinal Tap. We talked about it earlier with the sequel. It's a good spoof. It's a good. It
yeah,
was the beginning of Christopher Guest, but yeah,
yeah,
it's a great comedy. I grew up with it. I have an older sister who's a musician, and I believe she showed it to me when we were young, and she got a lot of the jokes that I didn't get. Uh, it's just it's groundbreaking. It brought, I think it brought, well, I'm trying to think what other mockumentaries were famous before it, but I think it kind of popularized the mockumentary format.
Yeah,
It was definitely one of the classics in that regard, and it was, it's just a funny movie. I don't have that much else to say about it other than the jokes work. It's got a talented cast, and it was Rob Reiner's very first movie, and
mhm.
you can't it's a pretty movie that's, I'm sure he was proud to have it on his resume as his first
Yeah.
movie. It's a funny movie.
Yeah, mockumentaries were that came out at a time when mockumentaries were not a big thing.
No,
I think there had been mockumentaries before, but the the
I think Woody
the
Allen did one. I can't remember the name, but I think Zelig, was that a mockumentary?
I don't
I
know,
can't
no,
remember.
no,
I can't remember.
bananas might have been. I don't know.
Bananas wasn't.
Uh, bananas was not.
I don't
Okay.
remember it that well though.
So, uh, so, but I mean, the cinema verite style wasn't even that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, before cinema verite, documentaries were completely scripted,
Mm-hmm.
and they told the story that the producers wanted to tell,
Yeah.
the director producers wanted to tell, rather than than letting the actual real story tell itself.
Yeah.
Like uh the what was that movie with the Eskimo, the famous was it Nanook of the North, I think.
No idea. I
What was
don't.
it? It was
No,
a
don't
famous early black and white documentary
don't know it.
about an Eskimo,
Mm-hmm.
and it was completely scripted. And you see him wrestling with a seal and a spear, and uh, uh, it's kind of a source of comedy because he's kind of rolling all over with the seal, and off to the side there were. According to my professor who taught this in our class, there were people with rifles that could have helped him, with the seal. So it documentaries were not always sources of truth that we
Sure.
could trust. The cinema verite style introduced that concept. So by the time that uh, 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 what movie we're talking
Spinal
about? We're
Tap.
talking
Spinal
about
Tap.
Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. But by the time this is Spinal Tap came out, documentaries actually were sources of truth. But um, the documentary style itself was not that well known. It was well known enough that that when people saw it, that they were expecting the truth to be told, but it wasn't so well known that people were able to like see all the tricks that they were doing and everything like
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Gotcha.
uh, so uh, and Rob Reiner, uh, probably one of his last um, opportunities to show how funny he was
Mm-hmm.
as a improving with Michael McKean and
Christopher
Christopher
Guest
Guest
and Harry
and
Shearer.
the,
Harry
yeah,
Shearer.
Harry Shearer. Yeah, and so it's really fantastic. I mean, I I mean, these go up to 11. You know that's one of the most iconic comedy
Yeah.
moments. Is so much so that our pop culture, it's impossible to go anywhere without people knowing about that concept.
Yeah.
Well, these go to 11.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, I mean, who was Nancy? Who was the the actress from The Nanny? Um,
Fran Drescher.
uh, well, I'm sorry,
Fran Drescher.
Fran Drescher. Yeah.
Yes.
So she had one of her earlier roles in
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah. She
she
was very
played it.
funny. She was very funny in
She
that movie.
she is very funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was a producer who at the beginning of the movie was kind of soulless,
Yeah.
and she was toward the end of it she was like, "You're making um you're making a record, and on your album cover is a half naked woman being led around on a leash, and and it was, I think the name of the album was "Smell of Glove" or something
Smell
like
the
that.
glove. Smell the glove.
So I mean,
Or sniff the glove. I can't remember it's sniff or
so,
smell.
like,
I think it's sniff the
so
glove.
I I don't know if she came up with that on her own and then they developed the art
No
afterward,
idea.
but
No
I mean
idea.
it's it the the point is that he very early on he got lucky working with really talented people
Yeah.
and made and I think that if he hadn't had his that with his earlier experiences with Carol O'Connor, then he wouldn't have been able to right away start working with great actors at the top of their game. I mean, Christopher Guest went on to Saturday Night Live
Yep.
shortly after that.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Michael McKean went on to uh, Saturday Night Live decades later because he was so well loved working with Christopher Guest, and because he was just so talented. I mean, early on we saw him on Laverne and Shirley, and
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, actors who are truly at the top of their game. Anyhow, I keep turning all of these into like 15-minute
Oh, you're all right.
topics.
You're all right.
Uh,
It's good that you
I,
have a lot to say about them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
this is Spinal Tap, one of my all-time favorite comedies, and
Nice.
it's it's uh, that and not
Same here.
because I don't I haven't watched it again and again, but I know that if I had, I would sit down and at any point in the movie, I would know exactly what like the next 3 or 4 minutes, where they were
Yeah.
3 or 4 minutes would be.
Yeah.
It's just a pure comedy,
Yeah.
and uh, and there I can't I can't think of a single bad thing to say about it.
Nice.
It
Same
just
here.
yeah
Same here.
yeah
Number eight, The Magic of Belle Isle, 2012. I'll bet money you don't know this movie.
no the magic
Nobody
of Belle
didn't
Isle.
know about it either. It's a really sweet movie, and I really liked it. Morgan Freeman is a wheelchair-bound alcoholic author who moves to a small town called Belle Isle. A small, I think it's a seaside town, something like that, or a
Mhm.
lakeshore or lakeside town. Um, and he's basically just a character study. He meets a single mother who lives, I think, next door or across the street or something, played by the great Virginia Madison, she's Madsen. She's wonderful in it. It's just a I don't have much to say about it. It's just a beautiful little movie, and it really took me by surprise how much I liked it. I'm pretty much at the movies. This is number eight. We have eight more. We have seven more movies to go after that. Pretty much the nine, including Spinal Tap. I consider these to be great movies. I consider these
Yeah.
Rob Reiner movies to be great movies. Like Spinal Tap through number one, nine through number one, great movies. Everything else was pretty good to very good. Uh, I think Magic of Belle Isle is one of Rob Reiner's great movies. It's just Morgan Freeman's fantastic in it. He's always fantastic, but this is a role that I think he was born to play, like Shawshank Redemption, like um, what's his best known role, or like Unforgiven or something like that. Just his truly classic roles. Um, it's it, I can't say enough good things about it. It's a sweet, character driven, optimistic, uh, just nice movie. And I when you're in the mood for a movie like that, you can't get much better than this.
Yeah, well, I mean that's fantastic. I mean, I wish I had seen it.
You should.
What is it? What is it streaming on?
I don't think it's streaming. I had to get it from the library. A lot
Oh,
of his movies I had to get from the library. So I can't
well,
recommend. I think you and Becky would like it. I think you and Becky would like it. So I do recommend you check it out.
oh, the next we'll have to find a DVD player.
Yeah. Yeah. Number eight or number seven, A Few Good Men. Great movie. I mean, this speaks to the quality of the movies on his list. That's number seven. Is A Few Good Men, and that's a great freaking movie.
Yes,
Just
yes,
great performances. It's one of Tom Cruise's best performances. It's one of Demi Moore's best performances. It's even one of Jack Nicholson's best performances, and
yeah.
that's no small feat. Uh,
Yes.
Kevin Pollak's terrific in it. Kevin Bacon's terrific in it. I wish I knew the name of the two guys who were on standing trial. Or I do know James Marshall, I something like that. From he's one of the main Twin Peaks actors. Uh, just great all around
Yeah.
performances, and that script, man, that Aaron
Yeah.
that Aaron Sorkin dialogue. I mean I think that was it's based on his play, and I'm pretty sure that play was Aaron Sorkin's first introduction to the mainstream. I think that was his first professional work, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not an Aaron Sorkin expert, so I'm not sure. It's just I can't say enough good things about this movie. It definitely is a morality play about how far do you take defense in the military? How far do you take discipline in the military? What's the good of it? What's the harm of it? And it doesn't. And one of the things I admire about this movie that I notice is it. This is absent from Rob Reiner's movie that's present in some of his other movies is he doesn't the movie doesn't really try to provide you with easy answers. Nobody
Right.
really know like you're kind of left in doubt at the end. Spoiler alert: when Tom Cruise wins the trial, you're kind of left in the end. Something somebody says, I think Jack Nicholson, you just weakened the nation today, or some. I'm paraphrasing. That's not the line, but it's something like that, and it's like, wow, that's actually worth thinking about because he does have a point. It's like we were saying about the presidency earlier. I don't think that anybody in any authority position in the military, you get blood on your hands. It's a tough job. It's a
Yeah.
that you have to make tough decisions on, and that's what the movie's about. It's about those tough decisions that people in authority in uh, in the military or in politics has to make. And it does it beautifully. It like I said,
Yeah.
I admire it immensely because it does not provide easy answers. It gives you food for thought, and
Yeah.
it's just a great movie.
It's a it. I 100% agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
I struggle to find a bad performance in the
No.
film.
No.
It's from the other side of the camera. It is a it's a statement movie that doesn't get preachy, or at least
Yeah.
not very preachy.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Pollock has a
He's
a
so
few
good.
things.
He's so good.
Yeah, he gets a little self-righteous about them being bullies,
Bullies.
the
Bullies.
clients
Yeah.
being bullies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he stays true to his character, and
Yep.
uh he at no time does he become a bad lawyer for them.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
Demi Moore is at no time does she uh, um, uh, fail her character.
Right.
She at Tom Cruise. All of the younger actors. I mean, they were in the 30s at the time, I think, but maybe uh, none of them were seasoned actors by that point.
Mhm.
Yes, they had been maybe. I mean, Demi Moore had been acting at least since the early '80s, but and so had Tom Cruise, but they were still cutting their teeth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they had enjoyed success, great
Yeah.
success, but they weren't yet uh, the most well respected
Yeah.
actors in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and.
Cruz was
Uh,
at the top of his game at the
Yeah,
time
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Tom Cruise has been at the top of his game since Top
since
Gun,
Top Gun,
if not earlier.
because
Yes, but
he's
and
Top
yet he hasn't really he as much as he's tried, he really hasn't fallen from that position.
Gun. No.
Uh, uh, and so like that having been noted, um, he took a chance with that dramatic performance, and
Yeah.
he nailed it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
He should have been nominated for an Oscar for that. I don't think he
yeah,
was.
I'm surprised that he wasn't.
Yeah. I
Um,
could be wrong.
uh,
He might have been. I don't think he was nominated.
was Jack Nicholson?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. It was
So,
nominated for a lot of Oscars. I don't know. I shouldn't say. I'm starting to doubt
so
myself.
with that famous trial scene that Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson was in, he the story goes that every time, whether he was in camera or
Yep.
not,
Yep.
he delivered that soliloquy
Yep.
just as impassioned every single time.
And Rob
And
Reiner asked him why, and he
yeah,
said to Rob Reiner, "Rob, I love to act." And that was all he said. He just said, "Yeah." He just was like,
yeah,
Rob Reiner was like, "Why are you putting yourself into this so much?" And he just was like, "I love to act." Yeah, I
yeah.
have the Blu-ray of Few Good Men, and that story's retold on the Blu-ray and special features a couple times. So yeah,
That's that is just
yeah,
hearing that story, and we hadn't talked
yeah,
about that before.
yeah.
The fact that you knew about it, and that, I mean, it just fills my heart with so much
I
glee
love it. I love it.
that I didn't have to. That just, oh, I love that. That's such a great story.
It really
I
is.
mean,
It really is.
yeah. So like, and and Rob Reiner did not get in the way.
Right,
You know,
right.
some directors may have let their egos get in the way,
Yep.
and inhibited that kind of brilliant performance, because it was a statement piece. You
Again,
know,
he's
he
an
was,
actor's director.
yeah.
He was.
So it just it's amazing to me
It
that,
really is.
because uh, so often filmmakers get in their own way with statement pieces, and they just fail miserably because they don't understand the collaboration that's necessary
Sure,
to to get those kinds of performances out of their actors.
sure.
Uh, as a failed director myself, I know this from experience. I it's just um, it's just so easy to let your ego uh, drive what you're doing, and just pull through it, to just ignore everything that's going around you, and instead of just like getting out of the way and letting brilliant people do their thing.
Sure.
And Rob Reiner, he did that again and again and again, being a team leader without relying on his ego at
Yep.
all.
Very much
Amazing,
so. Very much
just
so.
amazing.
Number six, The Sure Thing, 1985. This was his second feature length movie. I love this movie. I grew up on this movie. It's a very young John Cusack, a very young, I can't pronounce her last name, Daphne Zuniga from Spaceballs and other movies that I can't name off the top of my head. It's just a sweet romantic comedy about two young college kids. John Cusack's this freshman in college, and Daphne Zuniga, I know I'm butchering her last name, is his classmate, and he's desperate to have sex. He's been in a dry spell ever since he started college. His
Yeah,
friend tells him to come out to LA, and he'll get him hooked up with this beautiful girl. She's a sure thing. So
yeah,
it's just. Have you seen it?
yeah. I remember it. Yeah,
Okay, it's
yeah.
a great movie.
I,
It's one of the best '80s teen comedies of all time. It's very
yeah,
underrated. Most people don't give it the credit it deserves, but it's again like Rob Reiner at his best. Rob Reiner, his movie at his best when he was being honest with himself, he tackled sweet movies with sweet topics, and there's nothing wrong
yes,
with that. And and this is another example of a movie that just again it just pulls at your heartstrings. It makes you laugh. John Cusack, when he was a young, I love John Cusack even today, but when he was a young actor, he had so much energy. He had so much ingenuity. Ingenuity. He just he blows. He's one of my favorite actors. He blows my mind in this, and he was like 17 when he did it or something like that, which drives me nuts. But but great movie.
I uh I don't remember it very well. I remember seeing it. I remember him driving cross country. I remember him being, yeah. I remember being that teenager, who
Yeah.
was obsessed with losing my virginity,
He had
and
already lost his virginity. He just was trying to have sex again. But
with
yeah,
her specifically, because
no,
she was a sure thing.
with the sure thing. Yeah, he just wanted to get laid.
Yeah, so I remember being that kid, and
Sure.
remember just being obsessed with sex and everything like that. And uh, um, what was the movie that with? Well, it doesn't matter. The I it amazes me that we had a period in our culture's history where teen movies were made. You know, because I mean, how do you convince uh, uh, people, business people, to say, yeah, yeah, let's make movies about teens having sex and and when STDs are a thing and teen pregnancy is a thing, but uh, in the '80s that was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it's and
And
even
this,
into like the early 2000s, I think it
yeah,
was still a big thing.
yeah.
Like
And this one,
teens.
along with Say Anything, are two movies that handled it with a bit more sensitivity. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Well,
this,
and I think that's partially because John Cusack, because
yeah,
he seems like he chose movies where he wasn't a complete pig
right.
like
I
some
believe
other.
I believe that's the truth. I believe you're right.
Yeah,
I
and
believe you're right.
and Rob Reiner, the flip side of that, um, uh, he himself, would have a problem with those kinds of
Sure,
movies.
sure. I mean, he is kind of a. I mean, he is kind of a piggish character in the movie. Say Anything, or The Sure Thing. John Cusack is, but Daphne Zuniga has a hand in transforming him and bringing the best out of him. And it's
Yeah,
again,
I I remember her better from, I think, Melrose Place, which I only like watched one or two
never watched
episodes of.
Melrose Place. Never watched
Yeah.
Melrose Place.
So, yeah, I think I watched one or two episodes of it, and I certainly saw the 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 what were they called, the trailers for the TV
Sure,
trailers for
sure.
do they do they have teasers on TV? What they don't really have
There's spots.
spots. Okay, so TV spots. So like so I mean, you like tonight, Melrose Place, whatever. So like it'd be those types of things. And like she very pretty lady, I think she has blue eyes, dark hair, blue eyes, right?
Something like that. I don't know.
So, very very pretty, very pretty lady. And opposite John Cusack, I don't remember if they had good chemistry or not, but she's a firecracker on
Oh,
screen.
she's a firecracker in this movie. They
Yeah,
have wonderful chemistry in The Sure Thing.
yeah.
They have wonderful chemistry.
So I can't I don't remember exactly why I liked that movie, but I think that probably had something to do with it.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
That and the fact that I probably identified with his character when I was a young kid.
Nice.
So
Number
yeah,
number five. Now I guarantee this movie blew me away, and I had
yeah,
never heard of it before I started rewatching his filmography after he passed away in December. It's called Flipped. Have you seen it?
no,
You've got
no, I'm
to
not.
see this movie. It is right up there with his classics. It's number five on my list, and obviously the remaining four are all classics. But
Yeah,
this movie is obscure. It's not. It was underrated, but it is a wonderful movie. It's about these two little kids. They live across the street from each other. It's set in the late 50s and early 60s, and it's just this character study and this examination of the kind of this budding romance between these two kids and their differences and it's just, again, I keep using the word sweet, but it is a sincerely and movingly and just just powerfully sweet movie. It's just a it's I rank it blew me away. I don't mean to, I'm pun intended, I flipped over this movie. So I mean, I just was watching it like, how is this not? And another tragic end note to it is he thanks his son Nick Reiner at the end. He credits his son Nick Reiner at the end for inspiring the movie because it's based on a book that his son Nick was reading for class, and Rob Reiner read it to know what his son was reading because apparently he was an active parent, which is all the more upsetting. But
yeah.
and he read the book and he was like, I got to turn this into a movie, and he did, and it's a beautiful movie. I haven't read the book, but it's a beautiful movie, and I you got Magic of Belle Isle and Flipped are two obscure Rob Reiner movies that I can't recommend enough. Those both those movies will, I think those are both movies you and Becky would enjoy immensely.
Um, uh, I, I'm surprised I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it didn't do very well. It didn't do very well at all.
Um, you keep saying sweet. You
Yeah.
mentioned that you keep saying sweet, and I think that that goes back to his history. As long as Rob Reiner has been a known entity in Hollywood,
Hmm.
it seems like he's always either portrayed or made sweet, uh, characters, sweet stories.
Right.
People just really good people.
Yeah.
Either that he himself depicted, or um, or stories about those people. Not
Right.
necessarily in This Is Spinal Tap, but
Right. Right. Right.
but we still. I mean, if it had been a true documentary of those people, they probably wouldn't. The dudes in Spinal Tap probably wouldn't have gotten back together at any
Yeah.
point. They probably wouldn't have had that makeup scene where what's his Christopher Guest's get Ian, was that the character's name? He comes back, and makes up with Michael McKean's character.
Mhm.
That he was that he walked out on the tiny Stonehenge, and he
Mhm.
came back for what some whatever. Uh, the fact that he could make something like Flipped really shouldn't surprise anyone,
Yeah.
given the nature of who Rob Reiner
It's a
was throughout his
2000. It's a 2010 movie, and I think he didn't change. Audiences did. So
career.
it
Yeah,
was different times. People were more cynical. It was probably too sweet for its times. It was probably
yeah.
people probably it was probably a little too saccharine for its times. But all right,
Which is which is odd because the '90s was so cynical.
cynical, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But older people in the '90s, people who were older at the time, I think still wanted to go to movies and see the best of humanity represented.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think that you're right about that,
yeah.
because Seinfeld was very popular, but it still was niche. Not everybody watched it.
Right, right, right. Okay, we're at the last four here, and they're all bona fide classics. You've heard of all of these movies. Anybody who's listening to this has heard of all these movies. Number four, The Princess Bride. All right.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
what else can you say? I don't have anything to say about The Princess Bride. It's a great fantasy. You're dealing with a screenplay and source material by William Goldman, who's one of the best screenwriters ever in Hollywood. And you're dealing with Rob Reiner's great direction, great cast, great. It's just everything about it's funny, it's
Yeah.
thrilling, it's fantastical, it's so many different things.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
yeah, and
absolutely.
it just
Did you
it
read the book?
succeeds at all of them. It succeeds at all of them. It's a fairy
Yeah.
tale. It's a romance. It's all these things.
Yeah.
It's a story about a kid's relationship with his grandfather. Ultimately, I mean, it's just there's so many layers to this movie. It's just
Yeah.
I'm speechless trying to describe it. And yeah,
And
yeah,
that's understandable, because there's so many different elements to it.
yeah,
It's summarizing exactly what it was, while also mentioning what it means to us as fans of the movie, 30 years later.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, great romantic comedy, one of the all-time greatest romantic
I agree.
comedies. And at the time, I don't think it was very famous. I think
It was successful, but it was more cult success. It wasn't a
yeah,
wild. It was a modest success. I just listened to the commentary, and they mentioned that uh, it was a modest success, but it wasn't a
yeah,
runaway success. It was home video that it really found its niche and it's found its
yeah,
loyalists and it's. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. The movie's so it was so different at the time. It's amazing it
yeah,
did well at all. So
yeah,
it because unique movies, you and I both know when a movie's unique,
yeah,
we should be applauding it for that reason, but it's often shunned for that reason. So yeah,
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, okay. So, What was the name of the kid in that? Savage, something Savage, Kevin Savage,
Fred Savage.
Fred Savage. So Fred Savage, um, we know that it wasn't a huge success because Fred Savage was not made famous by The Princess Bride. He was made famous by The Wonder Years.
Right.
So,
He was.
and
I
Fred Savage,
think the Wonder Years was already on at that point. I'm not sure.
perhaps, but I think he looked like he was a younger character than I remember him being on The Wonder Years. And later,
It was after. It was after.
The Princess Bride was after.
Princess Bride came out in '87. Wonder Years came out in '88.
So yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
That because movies are often made a year or two before
Sure.
they're released.
Sure.
So him being a young kid, younger looking kid on that, whereas I think his voice was even a little bit deeper on the Wonder Years.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
uh, 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 so yeah. And the Wonder Years was kind of an iconic show at the time too because it was
Sure.
um uh but I don't think Rob Reiner was involved in that anyway, so we don't
No.
need to keep talking about Wonder
No.
Years. But I mean, but yeah, it had so many great actors involved with it. Billy Crystal was involved with
Billy
it.
Crystal, Carol Kane,
Yeah, and Carol
Carrie
Kane was
Elways, Rob. This was Robin Wright's first role, and she went on to do amazing things. And
yes, yes.
Mandy
Well,
Patinkin and Andre the
yeah,
Giant, and the guy who plays Indigo. I can't remember. Wallace Shawn.
Andy
Wallace
Patinkin.
Shawn. Wallace Shawn. He's
Okay.
oh
Yeah,
no,
Wall
not
Shawn.
Indigo. Indigo's Mandy Patinkin. I can't remember
Yeah,
Wallace Shawn's character, but
it's
Indigo
like
is Mandy Patinkin.
Fezziwig or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fezzik. Something I don't
Fezzi.
remember. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like
Have you, did you read the book?
no. I have
Princess
the
Bride
book,
book?
but I've never read it.
It's a really neat book.
Yeah,
It's a little bit different from the movie.
yeah,
In the book, uh, Prince Humperdinck is a hunter,
yeah.
and he's like one of the world's best hunters, and he has this zoo that
Okay.
he uses to hunt in, and on the top
Yeah,
floor
they brought
is
that up
where
in the commentary. They didn't use the zoo in the movie because of the.
yeah,
They instead used it in that tree trunk, that dungeon thing,
yeah,
to save money.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So in the zoo, he had levels, and each level had a more and more dangerous species, and
right.
uh, um, uh, the Dread Pirate Roberts was considered the most dangerous of them all, so he
Yeah.
was on the top floor.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all the and then it's in the text there's in the novel there's sections with red text which refer to a fictional book
Right.
that supposedly the Princess
Right.
Died
Right.
was
Because
adapted
it's
from.
called the abridged version. The book is. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I even went look. I was like, I got the abridged version. I want the full version. Then I found out that's the way the book's written. So
yeah.
yeah.
It's so that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so William Goldman, an incredible talent, in his own right,
Hmm.
uh, just so just fantastic, you know, uh, you know, creative mind to think of something like that. But
Absolutely.
it's a gimmick that you just don't see, and it probably helped him make some of the money back from a movie that was not seen at the box office.
Yeah.
Uh,
It got seen, but it just wasn't a huge hit. It was a modest hit. It was a modest hit.
oh, that I'm glad because it was one of the greatest movies of one of the most beloved movies of all time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Number three, 1986's Stand By Me. Again, what can you say about this movie that hasn't been said? Great movie about childhood, great movie
Oh yeah, yeah. Stand by
about
Me, yeah.
bonding of friends and how you grow apart and all that great stuff. It's just uh,
Yeah,
beautiful movie. I don't. We're
absolutely.
running low on time here. I do have to go pretty soon. So I don't have much to say about Stand by Me other than great performances from little kids. I miss River Phoenix. God, what a talent he was.
Yes,
Will Wheaton
yes,
was amazing. Corey Feldman, I mean, people, he's a brunt of many jokes today, but Corey
yeah,
Feldman was a wonderful child actor, and people don't give him
yeah,
credit for that today. Jerry
one
O'Connell,
hundred percent.
uh, all the kids are great. Great
Yeah,
soundtrack. Kiefer Sutherland's wonderful in it.
yeah,
John Cusack has a small part. It's just a wonderfully touching movie about childhood pain and childhood
yes,
joy,
100%.
and it's just a
One
great
of the most and as one of the most all-time uncomfortable scenes
movie.
when he emerges from the swamp water
Yes,
and
yes,
has to reach down into his
yes.
pants to pull out a leech.
Which I
Oh,
believe actually
so
happened to Stephen King. I believe that actually who wrote the source
oh,
material.
really?
I believe that
Well,
I could be wrong. I think they said that in the commentary I listened to a couple months ago, but
well,
I believe that actually happened to Stephen King.
and yeah, the reason why you're referencing that is because it was based on the
It was
Stephen
based
King
on the body, a
short
novella
story,
or a
The
short story or
Body.
something. Yeah,
Oh, was that in Skeleton Crew?
that was in different seasons.
Okay, different seasons.
The same book
So
that had Shawshank Redemption.
okay, there you go.
Yeah,
So uh so Stand by Me legacy movie. You know,
absolutely.
it's just it has legs for days.
Yep.
There is no way that you can't talk about Stand by Me without mentioning something that is important in American culture.
I agree completely.
Yeah,
It's an iconic movie. Number
absolutely.
two, I can sit Misery, 1990s Misery. Number two, this is one of the best horror thrillers ever made.
Yes.
Wonderful performances. Kathy Bates deserved her Oscar in spades.
Yeah.
James Caan was doesn't get enough props for how good he is in this movie. Um,
Yeah.
Cinematography by Barry Sonnenfeld in all those. I mean, when you know at least 50% of a movie takes place in a single room, it's amazing that it's still visually interesting. It's just yeah, it's just an amazing movie. It's scary. It's funny. I've read the book, and the book's not nearly as funny as the movie is. Like William Goldman actually adapted Stephen King's book for this. We again, Steve William Goldman worked with Reiner, who also wrote Princess Bride. Um, William Goldman did a great job adapting the screenplay. And again, it's got the Reiner touch. It's a scary movie. It's horrifying, and Kathy Bates is horrifying in it. But yet, it
Yeah.
still ends on a note where you're not. It's not The Shining. You're not going to end out thinking, "Man, we are doomed as a species." You don't walk out of the Misery feeling bad about humanity because it has a hopeful, playful tone at the ending.
Yeah.
And that's the Reiner touch. He somehow, and usually I would accuse a movie of selling out if it did that, but in the case of Misery, it just works beautifully. It's natural, it's
Yeah.
honest, it's sincere, it works beautifully.
Yeah.
It's just it's a horror thriller with a lot of heart and a lot of character. Richard Farnsworth, you got to bring up Richard Farnsworth as the sheriff who helps who investigates looking who goes looking for Sheldon. Great performance, and
Yeah.
I just love this movie.
Yeah. I there it's a what do they call them? The locked rooms where there's the vast majority of it's only in one
Yeah,
location.
yeah.
So, so
I don't know.
those types of movies are rarely well done
Yeah,
because there's I should probably
he does
they're
get out of the
rarely
room a bit.
received.
There are scenes outside of the room, so it does have room to breathe and stuff. So it's not all set in the room, but
And the reason why they're often done is low budget
right,
because it's you know the or because the filmmakers just are too inexperienced or
right,
whatever.
right.
So when an accomplished filmmaker, a celebrated filmmaker makes a locked room or whatever the phrase is, one of those types of one room
Yeah.
movies, which we've established is yes there what were more than just one room, but the vast majority was just in that
Right.
room where he was in that bed, tight, hobbled because of Kathy Bates, said,
Hmm.
I unfortunately I'm not going to be able to let you do that again,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
and so she hobbled him, broke his ankles and his legs, whatever, and he survived. How he survived? I mean, if anybody else was in that position, probably would have given up. But I think
Sure.
James Caan brought so much strength to that character,
Absolutely.
completely prone the whole time, right? I mean, or what is it, prone when you're on your belly? Anyhow, he
Uh-huh.
was completely, he was in bed the whole time.
Yeah.
So like, uh, so that's crazy. It was just all in his face,
Yeah.
and Kathy Bates. That was the first movie of hers that I became aware of.
Same
Even
here.
though
She's one of my favorite actresses. She's
even
amazing.
though she and I she graduated from SMU too,
Oh
my
wow.
alma mater.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so even though she is a graduate of SMU, I hadn't discovered her um, until I knew nothing about her before. Well, um, I guess I went to SMU after I saw Misery, so I guess I had. But seriously, still, Misery, absolutely, another Stephen King story. It's so good.
It's
it is
wonderful.
terrifying.
Yeah.
You absolutely terrifying
Yeah.
that to be trapped in that room with Kathy Bates's character was completely nuts.
Right.
Complete. She's complete. Just like she's oogie 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 or
Yeah.
whatever. You know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't.
She's
I
great.
can't.
Her
Oh my
sour
goodness.
winged misery.
Yeah, they're just such a great movie,
It
and,
really
and,
is.
and truly one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
I agree 100%. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
And speaking of that, we go to number one, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my favorite romantic comedy of all time. And I'm actually, despite my dark tastes, I love David Lynch, I love Oliver Stone, but I love a good romantic comedy when I see one. I love Hallmark movies when I'm in the right mood for them. Harry Met Sally.
yes, yes,
Best
yes,
chemistry, best romantic chemistry ever.
yes,
I can't name. Well, maybe Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern in Wild at Heart, completely different movie, but maybe they rival it. But I
yeah,
think Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan in this movie just you believe every word they say. You believe they
yes,
are these characters. You believe that it's just again. I know Rob Reiner. I said earlier, Rob Reiner had a hand in writing the story and writing the script, but it really is. Nora Ephron is an
yeah,
amazing writer, and the dialogue, the snappy dialogue, it's
yeah,
it's just a sincere, heartfelt, realistic. It's a movie. It's a romantic comedy that you believe. Like I even
yes,
like romantic comedies where it's like, that's bullshit. They're not gonna get to. They wouldn't survive that. I don't see that in
yes,
Harry Met Sally. Harry Met Sally. I'm like, yes, I I
yes,
I get their drama. I get their will they won't they throughout the thing, but I also get them ending up together in the end. Spoiler alert. But
yeah, yeah.
it's just a wonderful movie. It's my favorite Rob Reiner movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's I again like Stand by Me, like Misery, like The Princess Bride. I can't say enough good things about it. Uh,
Yeah.
it's just great.
Yeah, absolutely. The way it's punctuated, broken up with the vignettes of
Yeah,
the older
yeah,
couples,
yeah,
telling how they met each other and fell in love,
yeah,
and then Harry and Sally they end the movie.
yeah.
See, first they hated each other, then they kind of liked each other,
Then they liked each other. Then they fell in
and then they
love.
fell in love.
Yep,
Yeah. And we all fell in love with Meg Ryan. I mean,
absolutely.
when her she she at no time did you disbelieve that she could have been a a smart liberal University of Chicago graduate
Sure.
that that who could hold her own against Billy Crystal,
Right.
who again, I mean, he'd come out for his success from Soap,
Yeah.
and I think he after Soap, was he on
I believe
Was he
that's correct.
on Saturday Night Live after that?
He was on Saturday Night Live. I don't know. I'm not a Billy Crystal expert. I love him, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
soap, and then it was, and then I believe it was soap, then Saturday Night Live, then movie career. I think that's how it worked.
yeah.
But don't quote me on that.
Yeah, so I think so too. So I think it was that transition. He was as funny as anyone else at that moment. He was one of the funniest actors in Hollywood, and Meg Ryan, at no time did she ever uh, seem like she couldn't hold her own against him.
Exactly.
She gave it as good as she got
Be great.
every single time.
They just
When
worked off each other so
yeah,
beautifully. Like, yeah,
really, we were the chemistry that Bruce Willis and um,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer should have had, they brought and then some.
Yep.
I mean, the one of the most all time famous scenes is when Meg Ryan she fakes the orgasm
That
in
was
that
the
restaurant.
scene after Rob Reiner passed away, after he died. That was the
Yeah,
scene everybody was quoting and playing clips
yeah,
of, and that was the iconic scene
yeah,
that he's best known for directing. And he
yeah,
really did push her to get that way. He really was like,
yeah.
okay, and he
I
had to
believe it.
act it for her to tell her what he want to get her to do what he wanted. He played the scene out first. So
That's so great.
yeah. Uh,
That's right. And then that scene ends with a lady at a different table saying, "I'll have a cheese at
that's his mother,
it."
and that's Rob Reiner's mother.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. I'd forgotten that bit.
yeah.
Uh, so we talked about how the movie was for the most part written by Nora Ephron.
Mhm.
Rob Reiner may or may not have had. We don't. It's impossible to say exactly how much was Rob Reiner, how much
Sure,
was Nora Ephron.
sure.
But the him stepping aside like that
Yeah,
is and giving a female writer a chance like that
yeah.
is is the same kind of thing that I was talking about with what he could have done
With Ghost of
with
Mississippi.
with the Ghost of Mississippi.
Yeah.
He prior to Nora Ephron, there were I mean she was also one of the first big female directors.
Hmm.
She transitioned from writer to
Right.
director, and prior to that, uh, women writers, women directors were very rare in Hollywood. The biggest job that they could have for a long time was film editing,
Sure.
and there have been many great film editors who are women and
Hmm.
celebrated for it. One of the trying to remember who great was
Marsha
no
Lucas, Thelma Schumacher. I can't remember Thelma. Is the
was
Martin Scorsese
was
editor? I can't remember
I'm
her
trying
last name. It's not.
I'm trying to remember. Empire Strikes Back, was that written by a female writer?
No, that was Lawrence Kasdan and George Lucas.
Why did I think it was a female writer?
No idea.
Empire Strikes Back. It
Marshall
doesn't matter.
Lucas may have edited it, but
Um the I know Lawrence Kasdan was involved with Return of the Jedi, and not
yeah,
doesn't it makes sense that he was involved with Empire Strikes Back too.
yeah,
Empire Strikes Back. So yeah. Uh, so my point just there is just that uh, I'm glad that Rob Reiner was able to have the foresight to understand how important it was that he give Nora Ephron a chance
I agree.
to
And he
and I
stepped
mean
aside and let her have all the credit, which was pretty cool.
yeah.
Which is
Oh
pretty
yeah,
rare.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I think that that speaks to his character
I agree.
that was lost, and it speaks to the tragedy
Hmm.
that such a beautiful person. And I mean, we were like, yeah, he gave a woman her chance. Good for him, like they're like, but uh, back in the '80s, it was a big deal.
Yeah,
So many. I remember when 9 to 5 came out.
yeah,
And the women were really struggling with
yeah,
inequality,
yeah.
and so for for Nora Ephron to get a big break like that was wasn't just good, it was necessary.
Right.
It was it was necessary for progress, not just in women's liberation, but in our evolution as a nation, as human beings. We need, and we're kind of backsliding now,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
and it's really unfortunate. We don't have, I mean, if anyone was a social justice warrior, it was Rob Reiner. I mean,
Yeah.
culturally,
Absolutely.
he he embodied that spirit of be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And we we lost a great role model when we
I
lost
agree.
him.
I agree a hundred
And
percent.
it's just a shame. And I mean, I don't want to get into conspiracy theory too much, but I mean, there's evidence that, I mean, he was an outspoken critic of the Trump administration.
Right. Right.
And,
Right.
and there are conspiracy theorists who have claimed that, I mean, sorry, there is some evidence that his son may have been influenced, by bad actors, and in a kind of a Manchurian candidate kind of a
Yeah.
situation.
Well.
And I don't. The trial's coming up. I
Yes.
don't want anything that my voice is so small that there's no way anybody of significance will be
Sure.
like,
Sure.
no, that
I
kid
think
over on
that's a
YouTube,
I
he,
think
he
that's
made
a
some good
topic for
points.
another podcast. So, but maybe
Yeah.
we can discuss it during the trial. But I think that's a perfect note to end on, though. I think that we lost a great humanitarian, and
Yes. Exactly.
I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss his work, and I always appreciated his work, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it even more now that he's gone. And I
Yes.
wish I could have
Yes.
discovered the movies that I discovered while he was still alive and supported them while he was still alive. But better late than never, I guess. So, you know. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Truly,
thank you very
truly,
much.
everything you said.
Yep. Thank you.
Everything you said. Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you
no
for
problem.
listening, everybody. This is probably our longest podcast, but we were dealing with 21 movies. So, thank you very
I
much.
loved it.
Yeah, it's been great. This has been a blast. So, all right. We'll see you guys all next time.